there, my name is Trinity, and today I'm going to be giving you some summer book recommendations and talking a little bit about my summer TBR. The weather is finally getting warmer. Thank God. It's dress season, it's romance season, it's beach season, it's almost my birthday. Usually I associate summer with like romances, beach, that sort of thing. Today I'm going to start off with my book recommendations for you. I have quite a lot of recommendations over my TBR. So let's get right into those book recommendations. We're going to start off with some very obvious options. Happy Place by Emily Henry, People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry, Beach Read by Emily Henry, and Book Lovers, also by Emily Henry. I think we all know that this was coming. Our Lord and Savior has blessed us with some summery books. They're categorized as like summer love stories, but honestly, they're more like literary fiction with a little bit of romance in them. I'll tell you a little briefly what they're all about, but all of these were almost 5 stars for me. People We Meet on Vacation. We follow Poppy and Alex, who have been friends, and they've been going on these little vacations every year for like who knows long. One summer, something happens on a vacation and then they do not speak for 2 years. So Poppy tries to get back in touch with Alex, and it's just the story of that second chance romance, friends to lovers, that sort of thing. We've got past, present, timeline. It's Always Been You. It's just like so aesthetic and it screams summer. It's so wonderful. I love this book. The second book, which is actually her release from last year, is Book Lovers. Nora is a literary agent, and we also have Charlie, who also is in the publishing industry. She goes to this small town with her sister, who is very pregnant, and then she sees Charlie, and it's kind of like her nemesis, and it's a little bit of enemies to friends to lovers. Small town, bookish people, a lot of sisterly relationship. It takes place in August, and then we get into heartbreak territory, and we have Beach Read, and oh my Lord almighty, Gus and January, we're both writers. She writes romance, he writes literary fiction. They switch writing styles. Whoever writes the best book wins. And there's so much more that happens, and it breaks my heart, and I cry, and I will be rereading this book this year, so you should also read this and reread it with me. It's so wonderful. I love this one. And now we have got the book that has literally taken over my entire life, and I cannot think about anything else. Happy Place, which just came out in April, and I read it in one day, and I am going back and I'm annotating it because I just miss these characters so much. We have Wynn and we have Harriet, who have been together for like the better part of their college years. Them and their friends go to this little town in Maine every summer, but at this point they have been broken up for 6 months. Their friends don't know that. There's big news. They don't want to ruin the weekend, so they have to pretend to still be engaged and in love and fiancéed. And it's so good. This one had me screaming and crying on the floor. Just go read Emily Henry. Next, I've got Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. This came out last year. I read it last year. It is by a Canadian author, so slay girl. In this book, we are following Percy and Sam. Percy goes down to this cottage every year, and Sam is her like next door neighbor. Childhood friends, they grow up together. There's this big secret. They don't talk for 10 years, some traumatic event. It is very much Love in Other Words, but make it even more summery and make it Canadian. It was like the book of the summer last year. Another really good one. Next, I have One Italian Summer by Rebecca Searle. In this book, we are following Katie as she takes a trip to Italy that she was supposed to take with her mother. Her mother is like her best friend. Her mother is like basically her other limb. It was her one dream for her to go and spend the summer in Italy like she did when she was younger. Katie goes, she goes to grieve, do the things her mom does, and she ends up seeing the 20-year-old version of her mom there, and she's like, huh? And you're like, huh? And a lot of people are really thrown off by that point because they're like, why is there this weird time travel vortex dead mom thing? And I'm like, but it's so summery. It's so Italian. You've got the food, you've got the croissants. This made me want to go out and buy pastries and eat them by the beach. And the setting is so nice. I know the author actually went to this location, and she was like emailing and so much stuff with the hotel that takes place in this book. So she did so much research, and it really pays off because it is so picturesque. You are right there in Italy. And I miss the vibe. I miss those Italian vibes for the summer. All right, now I've got some young adult recommendations. The first one I have is Love and Gelato. I read this on my Kobo actually, so I don't have a physical copy of it, but I just read it because I missed those Italian vibes. roommates. We have a young girl. Her mother has just passed away, and it was her dying wish to just go to Italy, be with her father, meet her father, get to know him. There ends up being this journal that her mother kept while she was there, and it kind of tells this love story, this secret. It's kind of a mystery. She also meets a lovely boy there who ends up taking her around Italy on a little vacation, getting to see all the sights. She meets some friends. It's so Italian. It's so good. It has so much vibes in it. It's young adult. Wonderful if you like young adult in Italy. Next, we have one of my teenage favorites. We've got Morgan Matson up on the lineup. Since You've Been Gone. This one, I read this last summer and I absolutely loved it. We've got Salome and Emily. Emily is very much an introverted person, and her best friend Salome is extroverted, take all the chances, live life. One day her best friend Salome just disappears and leaves her this list of things to do, and she's like, where is my friend? No contact. Her entire family has moved. Their house is gone. So she's like, okay, well, maybe if I finish this list, I can find my friend. And through that, she starts making other friends, she gets a job, she does all of these things, and it's so wonderful. And there's also a little mystery of where the heck is my friend? Summer romance. I love Morgan Matson. She creates fun little adventures, and this is definitely a good summer one. If you do want to be crying for 2 hours, I 1000% recommend Second Chance Summer. I think about this book quite often, and I cry quite often. There is a specific scene in this book that absolutely breaks my heart. In this book, we are following Taylor. Her father has just been diagnosed with cancer, and he only has a few more months left to live, and he wants to spend them down at their cottage home for the summer. Spend his last summer with his family. However, Taylor has not gone back there in I think 5 years because something super bad happened. She did something awful to all of her friends and all of these people in her life in that town, and then she just left. But however, now she is being faced with those consequences, and she does have to deal with that. So she's dealing with just so much in this book. She's learning about friendship and forgiveness and grief for her father who is still there. Proceed with caution if you are emotional like me. It's very good though, very summery. Next one is not actually YA, it's definitely young adult. I consider this book so summery. I know I've suggested a lot of romance, a lot of literary fiction. Well, now I'm going to suggest to you a little bit of magical realism. Here is Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan, and I will suggest this in every video. This is my childhood. Please go read it. This book is basically summer camp, but for demigods, for Greek gods. I feel like I don't need to explain the plot of Percy Jackson. I think I reread this almost every summer because the summer vibes are so immaculate, because it's he's going to summer camp every year, but there's monsters and adventure and romance and love, and y'all should go read Percy Jackson. I think I'm just gonna subtly put that there and hope that you guys read Percy Jackson. Next, we are gonna quickly talk about Things We Hide from the Light and Things We Never Got Over, the Knockout series by Lucy Score. The third one is actually coming out in September, so I think it'd be the perfect time to pick up the first 2 books and read those. It's very small town in this small town of Knockout. In the first one, we follow Naomi and Knox, and he's a grumpy barber. She's very sunshine. She's a runaway bride. Le gasp, but what has happened? Naomi unwillingly comes to this town to save her sister, but ends up getting left with her niece, and now she's like, oh, bitch, I'm a mother to my niece. And that happens, and there's a little fake dating, and that one's fun. In the next one, we are following Lena, who is a character we meet in Things and We Never Got Over, and we are also following Knox's brother, Nash. Why do I just never know anybody's names in any of the books? Romance ensues. I cannot say too much about the plot of this one because that'll spoil the first one, but these are so romancy, so summery, so small town. You really get to know everybody, and the covers are gorgeous. I did not explain that well. Speaking of small town, let's just real quick, real quick, talk about Flawless, Heartless, and Powerless by Elsie Silver. This is the Chestnut Spring series, which I just read at the beginning of this month, and oh my lord, I loved it. We are following cowboys on a ranch, bull riders, Canada, Calgary, It's very summery vibes, especially Flawless and Heartless. This one, we are following a bull rider and his manager's daughter. Then we are following his older brother, the oldest brother, who's super grumpy, and Summer's best friend, Willa. This one's my fan favorite. Love this book. And then we are following the brother's friend and their cousin. Yeah, this one's about a hockey player and a ballerina, so it's a little less country summery vibes. I think this actually takes place in November, but just pretend it takes place in the summer and then it'll be summery. This series is so perfect to read for the summer. I think you'll love it. You guys will have a hoot and a half. Yay. I got Heartbones by Colleen Hoover. Now I know, controversial. I just think the vibes of this one are perfect. Anyway, we are following Bea, who is going to go live with her dad for the summer before she goes off to college in Texas. There's like this beautiful beach resort that they live on, and she meets Samson, who is a supposedly rich, beautiful man who's also mysterious, and they just have this like super intense connection. And as all of the wonderful Colleen Hoover books have, a little plot twist, a little spice, a little plot twist. This one's definitely more on the young adult side. I believe they're just going into college, so they're definitely a lot younger than her characters usually are. Usually they're like almost in their 30s. So this one's a good little one. Also look at the cover. So summery, so Texas, so summer. And the last ones I'm going to suggest real quick, because I don't think this would be a summary video if I did not suggest these two books. Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. We are following Mick Riva, who is a character who is in literally every single one of her books. His family, so the daughter Nina, it's their annual end of summer party. This book takes course over, I think, a few hours, and at the beginning of the book they're at a party, they're having fun, and then by the end of it there's a house on fire. And that's not a spoiler, that is on the back of the book. So it's a big mystery, big family drama, big summer vibes, surfing, Malibu. Envision all of that and you've got Malibu Rising. It is such a summer book. It is so visually beautiful. Thanks, Taylor Jenkins Reid. I have Carrie Soto is Back, which is about the character Carrie Soto, who is coming out of retirement as a tennis player so that she can beat her record and become the world's best tennis player again for the second time. So it's very like sporty outside, the vibes, going to all these different countries to play tennis. If you don't know anything about tennis, that does not matter. We follow Carrie Soto on her journey as a child to learn tennis. It's so good. We have a very morally gray character where you don't know if you hate her or you love her, but the character development is wonderful, and Taylor Jenkins Reid's writing is again top tier. And now we are going to super quickly talk about the books that I'm really excited to read for the summer that to me give off summer vibes, so I want to read them in the summer. Number one, we have The Sun and the Star by Rick Riordan and Mark Oshiro. This is a Percy Jackson novel, obviously, but we are following one of my very favorite characters, Nico D'Angelo, Will Solis. Their love is everything to me. I love them dearly. Anything Percy Jackson, that sort of world related, screams summer to me. I'm not usually a big fantasy reader during the summer because obviously the summer's for like romance and that sort of thing. So I really want to pick this one up to get back into my Percy Jackson childhood dreams. And that's all I need to know. And that's all you need to know if you like Percy Jackson like I do. Next up, we have The Love Wager by Lynn Painter. I also don't know too much about this book. I know that I've read her YA books and I've loved them. This would be my first new adult book by her. I know it's about a girl named Hallie, and her and this guy named Jack go on a date, and then they're like, I don't think we should go on a date with each other, but we should have a contest and date other people and then talk about it out. And whoever finds love first wins. That's all I know. That's all I need to know. It's just been up here looking mighty fine, and I cannot wait to read it. It's so pink and so yellow, and it's just giving me a summer cutesy little romancy vibe. So excited for that. Next is I'm Pretty Positive on Every Single Human Being's Summer TBR. Meet Me at the Lake by Carly Fortune. I think I want to read this next. I am so excited for the summer vibes. It is again, I believe, set in a Muskoka town. Fern has like this whirlwind of a day with Will. They end up being like, okay, let's meet again next year. And she shows up and he does not. And then it is 10 years later and she is still living in this little Muskoka town, and all of a sudden he shows up and she's like, conflicting emotions. So I believe this one is second chance romance, little small town, little lake town. Look at that cover. Does that not scream summer? It does. It's so good. I'm very excited. So this isn't like just the specific book. I actually have a few more that I ordered that are coming in. I cannot wait to read an Ellen Hilderbrand book. I hear she's the queen of summer books. So I bought What Happens in Paradise, which I did realize upon purchasing that this is the second book, so I may have to go and buy the other two back at the thrift store, but we'll see. I just hear she's got summery vibes, summer goals. I also ended up purchasing The Hotel Nantucket by her to read because I hear that she's summery. She's queen. Look at this. Sarah Caroli suggests her books constantly, as does Destiny Sidwell. I will read this in the summer. Oh my god, can you tell I'm sleepy? Ooh, this is a book that I actually bought last summer to read and I did not end up reading it. So I'm excited to read it this summer. I have got Island Time by Georgia Clark. Look at this. Oh my goodness. All I know is that it is by, ooh, oh my God, there's fucking Australian people in this. What the heck? This is so cool. Okay, it says that this is perfect for fans of Casey McQuiston and Elvin Hildebrand, who is the author I literally just showed you and the author of the next book that I'm going to show you. So that's so exciting. Anyway, we are following two families as they go on this beach to like celebrate their two daughters coming together. I believe there's a wedding that they're going to. However, there's a big island storm and all the families get stuck there and they're like very different families. So I know it's going to be like a family love, a big cast of characters, a very small island. It's going to be so cool. It's LGBTQ+. It's so cool. It just sounds so cool about queer romance, family secrets, ambition, parenthood, and a bird-chasing romance. Whatever that means. This seems so cool. Just look at that cover. This is gonna be such a cute little summer read. I'm so excited. The last physical book I have to show you for my little summer TBR is One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. I always want to pick this book up and then I see that it's set in August and I'm like, oh, I've gotta read this in August then, don't I? Because I just feel like I need to be in Warped. This book takes place mostly on the subway in New York City in August, which sounds so hot and muggy and gross and disgusting, but I just actually read the back of the book and the character's name is August. It's not set in August. I just had a whole spiel about that. Oh my God, I'm so dumb sometimes. Anyway, we are following 23-year-old August is the character's name, who is going on the subway and she sees a beautiful, mysterious lady named Jane, who actually happens to be from the 1970s. So August makes it her goal to fall in love with Jane on the train and then send her back to the 1970s. I don't know. God, I'm awful at explaining books. That's all I know about this one. I've obviously read Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. She has another book that I also really want to read. Kissing Shara Wheeler, I think is the name. Something like that, which I also want to read. But this one, I don't know. The New York vibes are giving me like a different kind of summer vibe that I want for the summer, so I'm excited. Also, take a shot every time I say summer in this video. And then two books that I actually have on my Kobo to read is It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey, which seems like a very classic book to read. I know it's about like a little sea town. A very famous preppy girl goes there and she falls in love with a grumpy sailor. And that's all I know about that one. And that one sounds lovely. There's also a second book. If I like the first one, I will definitely move on to the second one, which I will put here because I don't not remember the name. Of course I don't right now. That's another fun, cutesy little one. And I've never read a Tessa Bailey book. And I would love to read a Tessa Bailey book. I hear she's amazing and she's got like such a giant backlist. So let's hop on that train this summer. And then the last book we are going to talk about today is The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walther. This one has all the vibes, I feel like. It is about a girl who has just lost her sister. She's going to a big family wedding and while they're there, they play assassin, which is like you get a person and you have to hunt them down and then like you kill everybody kind of thing. So it's about like them running around this town. I'm assuming she falls in love. She's dealing with her grief. I've heard that her character is very unlikable when it starts because she's obviously grieving the death of her sister. But from the Pinterest boards I've been seeing about this book and the way people talk about it and also the cover, I want to read this book. It looks so fun. It looks so cool. I think I'm going to probably tear up a little bit because anything that says death in it makes me want to cry. Okay guys, thank you so much for clicking on today's video. I hope you enjoyed some of my book recs. Hopefully I suggested some you haven't heard of before. If you pick them up, let me know how you like them because I love these summer little collection pile of books I have and I would love to know your thoughts and feelings. And if any of these books that I've also put on my TBR are on yours, let me know. Maybe we could read them together and discuss and continue our conversation. But thank you guys so much for clicking on today's video. I hope you have the most wonderful day and you're gonna give lots of love, a million summer little kisses, and have the best day ever. Bye guys.